MMC TV USA. Now on POTV Channel 100.
Hello there once again and welcome to MMC World Roundup, where we connect you with the latest news from Sri Lanka and around the world. Before we dive into the details, let's take a quick look at what's making headlines today. Sri Lankans celebrate Vesak. The rain didn't dampen the mood. The government to sign an MOU with the Paris Club and the Exim Bank of China. India is in talks with Sri Lanka to acquire graphite mines. Tech giant Google will soon begin making its Pixel smartphones in India. Well, taking a look at your stories in detail, the rain did not dampen the mood for celebrating Sri Lanka's most important religious festival, Vesak Day. The week-long festival of lights to celebrate Buddha's birth, enlightenment and death is centered in and around the capital, Colombo. Streets are lined with colored lights, lanterns, Buddha statues and various flags and posters. Tens of thousands of devotees flock to Buddhist temples to take part in religious ceremonies despite pre-monsoon rains lashing the island. The Indian Ocean island is facing a difficult period due to natural calamities, post-pandemic changes and the economic collapse which have affected the celebrations this year. The government has announced that it will sign memorandums of understanding with the Paris Club and the Export-Import Bank of China to restructure the country's debt before the end of the International Monetary Fund Executive Board meeting. The government says Sri Lanka will make every effort to reach an agreement with the official creditor committee of the Paris Club and the Export-Import Bank of China on debt restructuring and will sign the MOUs once an agreement is reached. The IMF Board of Directors will promptly review Sri Lanka's extended funding facility arrangements, and Sri Lanka is expected to sign the MOUs before that review. $330 million in funds will be released to Sri Lanka by IMF. This amount represents the third installment of the extended loan program provided to Sri Lanka by the IMF. The restructuring process with bilateral creditors will be completed very soon. The Cabinet has approved the appointment of a committee headed by the President's Secretary to study and report on several issues, including the introduction of laws to cancel the lease agreements of state-owned companies with poor management which are unable to pay salaries. The Ministry of Finance, Economic Stabilization and National Policy is tasked with estimating the minimum wage to be paid to plantation workers, considering the current cost of living and the effects of the recent economic crisis. Additionally, they will assess the capacity of each plantation company to pay the estimated wage. India is in talks with Sri Lanka to acquire graphite mines in the island nation. The demand for graphite is steadily increasing as it is the most common material used for anodes in lithium-ion and other batteries. The Indian government had discussions with the government of Sri Lanka on acquiring graphite mines there, sources said. However, the sources refused to give further details, stating that the talks are at a very preliminary stage. The graphite found in Sri Lanka is of very good quality. Graphite features on the list of 30 critical minerals which was released by the government last year. The government had recently said that public sector companies Coal India, NMDC and ONGC Videsh Limited will start looking actively for critical mineral assets overseas. OVL is the overseas investment arm of state-owned oil and natural gas corporation. These public sector enterprises already have some kind of presence abroad. India is looking for tie-ups with Chile for getting access to copper and lithium mineral assets in the country. Critical minerals such as copper, lithium, nickel and cobalt are important components in rapidly growing clean energy technologies, from wind turbines and electricity networks to electric vehicles. A suspect who had close connections with the ISIS terrorists of Sri Lankan origin who were recently arrested at the Ahmedabad International Airport in India has been arrested by the Terrorism Investigation Division of Sri Lanka Police. According to Sri Lanka Police, the suspect has aided the 4 terrorists in obtaining air tickets. Further investigations are underway to detect whether more ISIS terrorists from Sri Lanka have left for India, the police said. The anti-terrorist squad of Gujarat, India arrested 4 Sri Lankan nationals who are members of the terrorist organization ISIS at the Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel International Airport in Ahmedabad. According to the Gujarat police, interrogations revealed that the suspects were encouraged to carry out a terror attack in India. Following this development, Inspector General of Police Deshapanthu Thenakon said the Criminal Investigation Department, the TID, and the intelligence authorities have launched a joint investigation into the 4 ISIS members of Sri Lanka. As a part of their investigations, the TID requested information on the 4 suspects who are currently held under the custody of Gujarat police. Further investigations were also launched to detect those who are close associates of these suspects. The Sri Lankan High Commission in Malaysia has successfully facilitated the repatriation of 1,608 Sri Lankan illegal migrants. This operation was conducted in coordination with the Malaysian government's migrant repatriation program over a 2-month period from 1st March 2024 to 30th April 2024, the Sri Lanka High Commission in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia said. Issuing a statement, the Sri Lanka High Commission in Malaysia stated that before the start of this repatriation program from 1st January to 28th February 2024, the High Commission facilitated the repatriation of 124 illegal migrants who were stranded in Malaysia with various difficulties. This brings the total number of repatriations to 1,732. The migrant repatriation program, which was initiated by the Malaysian government, aims to assist illegal immigrants in voluntarily returning to their home countries by providing legal exemptions and financial relief. The High Commission of Sri Lanka played a pivotal role in ensuring that Sri Lankan nationals take full advantage of the program. During the repatriation period, the High Commission worked diligently to process applications, provide necessary travel documents, and coordinate with relevant Malaysian authorities to ensure a smooth and efficient return for all participants, it added. Special attention was given to vulnerable groups including the elderly, pregnant women, individuals requiring medical assistance, and children under the age of 12. The High Commission of Sri Lanka extends its gratitude to the Malaysian government for their cooperation and support in making this repatriation initiative a success. The High Commission remains committed to supporting Sri Lankan nationals in Malaysia and ensuring their rights and welfare are safeguarded, according to the Sri Lankan High Commission in Kuala Lumpur. Sri Lanka's service exports for the month of April 2024 increased by 19.28% to reach $300.41 million over the corresponding period of 2023. Furthermore, the estimated value of ICT exports is expected to increase by 21.6% to $120.69 million in April 2024 when compared to April 2023. Also, the value of transport and logistics services exports is expected to increase by 24.94% in April 2024 compared to the corresponding period in the previous year. Moreover, the estimated value of construction services exports is expected to decrease by 31.05% to $14.87 million in April 2024 when compared to April 2023. However, export earnings from apparel and textile decreased by 6.34% year-on-year to $321.06 billion in April 2024 compared to April 2023. Furthermore, the total exports earnings from diamonds, gems and jewelry decreased by 14.14% year-on-year to $21.68 million in April 2024. Export earnings from diamonds experienced a substantial decrease by 23.88% in April 2024. Among the top 10 export markets of Sri Lanka, UK, Italy, Germany, Netherlands, France, and China have shown positive growth in both April 2024 and the cumulative period of January to April 2024 compared to the corresponding periods in 2023. Sri Lanka will extend the Czech Port City Colombo Private Limited project completion date by 2 years. The then Ministry of Megapolis and Western Development, Urban Development Authority and Czech Port City Colombo Private Limited signed a tripartite agreement in 2016 with a target completion date of 5th June 2025. However, due to the pandemic and the project company's financial constraints and the inability to generate sufficient revenue to meet obligations to creditors, the project will not be completed on time. Therefore, the period of implementation of the Colombo Port City Development Project will be extended to June 5, 2027, with the signing of a supplementary agreement between the Ministry of Investment Promotion, Colombo Port City Economic Commission and Czech Port City Colombo Private Limited Company. Earlier this month, Sri Lanka's Export Development Board signed an agreement with Czech Port City Colombo to attract and facilitate export-oriented businesses. Sri Lanka's Cabinet of Ministers had given approval to develop grid-scale battery energy storage systems to maintain power system stability as variable renewable power plants expand. Sri Lanka is expecting to connect large volumes of solar and wind power between 2024 to 2030 to meet a 70% renewable electricity target, but due to variability of wind and solar, the system stability is undermined. As a result, the power grid has to be able to absorb the shocks from non-firm energy. Battery energy system storage is one of the solutions identified in a long-term generation plan. A committee appointed to study the issue had recommended building battery banks. The cabinet had approved the development of battery storage system as public-private partnerships or private projects. The golden-backed frog, Hylarana gracilis, a species previously believed to be exclusive to Sri Lanka, has been spotted in the eastern Ghats of India. Deepa Jaiswal of the Zoological Survey of India, Hyderabad, confirmed that this remarkable finding occurred in the Koundinya Wildlife Sanctuary in Andhra Pradesh. Researchers from the Freshwater Biology Regional Center of ZSI in Hyderabad, the ZSI Western Regional Center in Pune, Maharashtra, and the Andhra Pradesh Biodiversity Board collaborated on this significant study. The discovery was made when a single golden-backed frog was found hiding behind a wet, rotten log near a small pond in Gunitham, Mepalle, within the sanctuary. More than 20 people who were on a Singapore Airlines flight hit by severe turbulence are in intensive care with spinal injuries, the head of a Bangkok hospital has said. A 2-year-old child is among those in hospital in the Thai capital, where the flight from London made an emergency landing on Tuesday. Overall, 46 passengers and 2 crew members were still receiving treatment in Bangkok, the airline said. Passengers on the airliner have said they felt the plane drop suddenly and that others not wearing their seatbelts launched immediately into the ceiling. The director of Samiti Veg Srinagarine Hospital said 41 passengers were still there, half of them in intensive care. 22 people from the flight had spinal injuries, while 6 people were in critical condition with life-threatening injuries, Adinan Kritra Tranapaibo said. Singapore Airlines flight SQ321 from London to Singapore encountered severe turbulence on Tuesday, leading to the death of 73-year-old British man Jeff Kitchen and injuring dozens of others. It is believed Mr. Kitchen died of a heart attack. Among those now in hospital, there are 6 skull and brain injuries and 13 muscular and soft tissue conditions, as well as spine and spinal cord injuries. Tech giant Google will soon begin making its Pixel smartphones in India. Google is set to manufacture the phones at an existing Foxconn facility in the southern state of Tamil Nadu. The firm is also set to independently manufacture drones in the state. India has emerged as a key destination for global firms looking to diversify supply lines outside China in the midst of geopolitical tensions with the West. Last year, Google had announced plans to make Pixel smartphones in India, beginning with the Pixel 8. Google and Foxconn have signed a contract to this end. Foxconn currently has 2 facilities in Tamil Nadu. At one of its facilities near Chennai City, it assembles Apple's iPhones. Google's decision to make Pixel phones in Tamil Nadu came after state officials met company executives recently. According to a statement from the Tamil Nadu government, officials from Google are also set to meet State Chief Minister M.K. Stalin in Chennai soon. Tesla boss Elon Musk says he opposes U.S. tariffs on Chinese electric vehicles just days after President Joe Biden quadrupled levies on EVs imported from China. Neither Tesla nor I asked for these tariffs, the multi-billionaire told a technology conference in Paris via video link. Mr. Musk's comments are at odds with a warning he made in January that Chinese car makers would demolish competitors from other countries if there were no trade barriers. Last week, the White House said new measures, including a 100% tariff on EVs from China, were a response to unfair policies and intended to protect U.S. jobs. Tesla competes quite well in the market in China with no tariffs and no differential support. Mr. Biden has maintained a number of tariffs on China that were introduced by his predecessor, Donald Trump, while increasing trade pressure on Beijing. Last week, Mr. Biden vowed to not let China unfairly control the market for electric vehicles and other key goods, including batteries, computer chips, and basic medical supplies. China said it was opposed to the tariff hikes and would take retaliatory measures. This week, China launched an anti-dumping probe into imports of a widely used plastic from the US, EU, Taiwan, and Japan. Vesak celebrations were conducted at the Mindfulness Meditation Center of the Los Angeles Buddhist Vihara in Covina, with a large gathering of several hundred persons of Sri Lankan origin as well as American and other nationals in a solemn event. In preparing the venue for the momentous occasion, Buddhist monks, temple devotees, and volunteers worked long hours to decorate the building and the entire premises with Buddhist flags, custom-made sculptures, and colorful floral arrangements. A number of venerable Buddhist monks from Sri Lankan and other Asian Buddhist temples situated in the greater Los Angeles area also took part in the Vesak celebrations at the Mindfulness Meditation Center. Well, that wraps up our news coverage for today. You can reach us on POTV, Samsung TV, LG TV, Apple TV, YouTube and Facebook Live, reaching the entire United States and across the globe. Thank you so much for joining in with us today. Until next time, have a fabulous week ahead.
To catch the full program and more, subscribe to MMC TV USA on YouTube. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram and TikTok